You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
87 and 90, and Thursday we stay dry, the sky sunny, the high 89. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning. Welcome into a Monday edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 is the phone number if you'd like to jump in on the show with us this morning. The X accounts at Locker Room 109 at Barry Sanderson at Wimp Sanderson 1. Email for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Download the Tide 100.9 app. You got coaches shows now on Wednesday. You'll have a lot of high school football stuff this week, plus all the shows here on Tide 100.9. So lock it in. You can take us with you anywhere you go. Of all the colors, yellow is the most important. At least it is from the 7 to 9 o'clock hour, because that's pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If you're going to build the fence, the deck, the pergola, there is only one choice, and that would be Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com, and always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you absolutely do not want. This is no more weeks without college football, so we will debut, Dad will, the Blue Plate Special on this Thursday. We'll have Chase tweet that out on our show. We'll put it on our show as well. We'll start him out, obviously, 0-0. This will be an exhibition week, but if he wins, we will absolutely count it. But only a few handful of games this weekend, but it'll give you a taste of college football, and then, man, it gets really rolling the next week. Good morning, guys. How are you doing? Good morning, Dad. How are you?
I'm doing okay. At the bottom of the hour, we'll have Kalen DeBoer's what he told the press after practice. Of course, we had the last scrimmage. Not a whole lot to tell you. Kalen will tell you more than I can. Richard Young, running back, came in and played very well with Jam out. I thought, from what I can understand, the defensive backs were playing well. They were really tough. You know, I've been wondering about the defense, and that they tackled well, and the defensive line was a good surprise. So I'm sure he'll express that to you. So one of the running backs, I think it was Rico Scott, I believe his name was, came in and played well. So I think they had a good final scrimmage, and things should be in good shape. But certainly he will. Neil Hibbett, who I'm a friend of their families, of course, Long Hibbett boys, and I've been friends for years. Was long snapper, did well. Punting was good. So I think things went along fine there. But Coach will do a much better job of telling you that at the bottom of the hour than I can. Tennessee got an offensive tackle that everybody was after. You have to understand, folks, that's a commitment. A commitment is not a signee. Caitlin Clark, which is a real record for her, both the assist record in women's basketball and the assist records. Most of the time you talk about them breaking the scoring record. She really gets the basketball to the open people, which is big. I do want to mention, while I'm thinking of it, that tomorrow we're going to have Steve Shaw on tomorrow to explain all the rules about college football. So get your paper and pencil out tomorrow, because he's going to be on with us, and really lucky to have him be on our show. Other things, Arkansas and Illinois play a Thanksgiving basketball game. October 15th is media day for basketball. In golf, I know that we'll do that when Doug comes on the second hour, but certainly Nick played awfully well. He moved up a bunch of spots, played really hard, really well. I think he moved up, I forget how many spots he did move up, but he moved up, and he did get in the 50. I think he moved up 19 spots.
Yeah, he's at number 48.
Yeah, I don't understand the spot. I'm anxious to find that out, because I thought I knew a lot about it, but obviously I don't know as much as I think I I do. So I wanted to try to figure that out because he played so cotton picking well. Hideki won it, and Hideki was terrific. He was so consistent and good. And I thought he just played awfully well. So we'll see what happens there. John Rahm was beaten in a playoff in the LIV tournaments by Kupchak. He beat him in a playoff, which is a big win for him. I don't know how much money he got. Don't really care. I didn't watch it. So those are the things that took place over the weekend. Some of the things, the prognostication, I'll give you the 4 prognostications, and I'll leave it alone. The prognostication is Georgia will play the 8-9 winner in the Sugar Bowl. Ohio State will play the 7-10 winner. It's been said that the 7-10 winner might be Miami and Alabama. Could be, might not be. And in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Florida State will be play the 6-11 winner. They would be the ACC representative. And then in the Fiesta Bowl, the Big 12's representative would be Utah, and they would play the 5-12 winner. So those are things that might happen. Most of those things don't happen, but it could happen. So that's about all I have. We welcome your calls to call us in, and we'll talk more golf, I guess, when Doug gets on.
Yeah, just briefly, the top 50 obviously advanced to Colorado. That'll be starting this Thursday. But it was pretty interesting. Nick Dunlap, Dad, when he came to 18, I don't think he probably knew this, but if he made a par, he was in the top 50. If he made a bogey, he was going to be 51.
Well, 18 is a tough hole, too.
It's going to be 51.
18 besides that is really, they had struggled with 18. And he did hit it a long way from the hole, but he two-putted.
Yeah, so I'm sure he probably did not know that, but what that means is if he made a par, he's in the top 50, he advances to the next round with a chance to get into the top 30 plus make more money. He won $760,000. But more importantly, next year he's exempt for all 8 signature events, being in the top 50. So I
don't understand the ranking of it. I tried to get a hold of Doug last night and couldn't reach him because I feel like I know pretty much about what goes on. I don't understand why he was that close, playing that well with also a win. Now I know one of the amateur wins one of the wins didn't count, but I wasn't able to quite follow that. I thought he'd be a little bit better.
Well, like yesterday, the points doubled, so whatever he got double. So anyway, but when he was in second place, it was kind of crazy. He was like around 19, and all of a sudden those guys kind of shot up a little bit ahead of him, and he went from that to 48. Which
he didn't play well. He hit out of the fairway a lot and was lucky to recover. But he struggled with his driver yesterday. He said he was a train wreck, and he was a train wreck off the tee. But he did a great job of recovering on 2 or 3 times. Even after you left me watching him, he recovered from shots that he's fixing to make bogey and he makes par. So congratulations to him. Thomas was 5 under. I didn't look to see what he did.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see I'm sure he's probably in the top 50. I'll look at that. I've got it pulled up here, who was where. So, the top 30 obviously will make it on to Atlanta. I'm trying to see where I'll figure out where he is here, in just a minute. He should have made it, but maybe he didn't. I don't know.
I'm sure he did.
He probably did. I don't see him here, so maybe he didn't, it's not good. All right, we'll go ahead and take this first break. We'll get back. We'll open the phone lines 205-342-9904. Also, we'll take a peek at some of the games coming up this week. I know high school football gets started this Friday as well. So
I'll say one other thing I want to say. We have a person running at the top office of the United States of America who wants to defund the police department. That's all I got to say.
US Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. Governor Kay Ivey signed the John Wesley Foster Act. That's a piece of legislation that requires public schools to have a cardiac emergency response plan in place. The plan instructs people to dial 911, start CPR, and use an AED on campus and at school-sponsored athletic events in case of a cardiac emergency. Click TuscaloosaThread.com throughout the day for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, not having to worry about too much around the area. Cones and barrels is about the only thing. And it's always on McFarland on east and westbound lanes between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen Wallace. And you've also got more road work on 2059 eastbound between Western
and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather not as humid today. The sky mostly sunny, the high 89. Clear and pleasant tonight, the low 66. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny both days, highs between 87 and 90. And Thursday, we stay dry, the sky sunny, the high 89. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
A national championship team covering a national championship team. The best sports talk in the state.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yellowwood, pressure treated pine from Great Southern. Want to build the 5-star backyard defense to deck the pergola. Only one choice. Go to yellowwood.com, put the zip code in. You can find the dealer closest to you. Yes, Justin Thomas did make it. I should have known that. He's number 22, so he will, right now, if he were to stay at 22, he will not only play in Colorado, but he also
I'll ask you. I'll ask somebody. I'll ask I'll wait for that.
All right. Well, he's already had so many points going into it, so I'm not even sure what he shot yesterday. I have to look him up. All right, let's get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Barry. Morning, Coach.
How are you?
Morning.
I'm good. Thanks for asking. The ranking or rating that you have or standing that you have to get in the playoff is an accumulative of your FedEx points.
Yeah.
And then as you move on, you still accumulate in the playoff points, which allows you to either move on or be disqualified from moving on.
Well, the first win that Nick had then did not count for him. Is that correct?
If he had those 500 points, see, he'd be up there where JT is.
Yeah, my question to you, Tom, is the first win that he had as an amateur did not count in his points.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
You get, as an amateur, you get no money and no FedEx points.
Okay.
And that's the robbery of being an amateur of the PGA, the way it's structured now.
Especially when you win.
Yeah, he should get the point. A win's a win.
Well, I don't disagree. I know you used to say, well, hey, it's set in place. They knew going in the tournament they didn't get the money. But now with NIL and all that, I don't know why these guys shouldn't get the money, to be quite honest. They did earn it with their ability. So with the NIL days, will you change your stance and these guys should get the money they play in there as an amateur?
Well, they better, because they're up against the competition. And right now, I think you're seeing the PGA surge ahead in popularity because of the format of the playoff. And then also that was a good golf tournament yesterday. That was very entertaining. And I think you're going to see it again. But I wanted you to ask, Coach, I wanted you to ask Doug or Barry, if you would. They move on, so now they're from 70 to 50. And I think the purse is $20 million at Colorado.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that's what it was at Memphis. Am I correct?
Yes.
And my question for Doug would be this. Okay, you're condensing the field, and the payout for the winner is $3.6 million. I mean, that's the same as it was this week. how does that work? Are they what's the money value for condensing the field? I'd like to know that. I couldn't find it. I looked for it. I couldn't find what the payout per position would be.
Well, yeah, but will there be a cut this week?
No.
No cut.
It's after the tournament's over when they're doing the cut in the playoffs. See, the cut happened after.
I know that, but no cut during the whole.
That's the only cut. Yeah. That's the only cut.
The only cut is they go from 50 to 30.
Yeah.
That's
well,
right.
I'm just saying, Nick making a par on 18 got him in all 8 signature events next year.
That's correct.
That's guaranteed money in every event.
That's right.
That's big.
$3 million.
That's big for him.
$3 million is what that's worth.
Yeah. So.
So if you go into next year and you know you're going to bank that money because you're going to play 8 events that's non-cut, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then with a little luck, you win one of them. Oh my God! And I think you're right. I don't think he realized how big that par was on 18 yesterday because some people dumped their ball in the water.
Yeah. And I just think that the LIV, I know they got money to burn, but nobody even talks about that anymore. Nobody even cares.
I tell you what, you're going to laugh when I say this, and Doug will never admit it. He's just too nice of a guy. But I'll say it. When LIV dumps Greg Norman, they'll be able to get somewhere.
Yeah. He probably won't say that.
That's my take on it. Anyway, I'd like to know that about that prize money and since the field is condensed, and JT looks like to me he's going to make the top 30 in Atlanta.
Yeah, he's currently 22, so as long as he plays okay, he should be there. So we'll see. It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. All right, back up to the Yellowwood Hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Barry. Hope y'all are doing good. Well, Barry, has Miss Jenny put in her request for games to go to this year?
No. We did a little family tailgate. We got one of the tents last year for the Tennessee game. I think they decided they were going to do it. I don't even know if they're going to go in the game and watch it out there on the quad. But the Georgia game and the Auburn game is when they're wanting to tailgate. So I just do what they tell me.
So you do it on the quad?
Yeah, we did last year. You know, you rent those tents.
Yeah, we're doing that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're doing that for the Georgia game. I don't really get into all that because it's actually a lot of work. But I'll look for you that weekend if we go. But I'm thinking about that now already. I remember last year you had a game that you went to during a wedding. No, you had to go to a wedding, and there was may have been the Alabama-Auburn game.
I don't know. We hadn't gone to games for a while, but last year we went to 3 or 4 of them, so I don't know. Right. The home schedule, other than Georgia and Auburn, is not great this year. I'm going to be out of town when the South Carolina comes, but I guess Missouri. Mm-hmm. But it's not a great home schedule, I don't think, this year.
Right. Well, look, that's what I was going to talk about was that Alabama is getting a visit from the nation's #1 player in basketball the weekend of the Georgia game. I don't know if you saw that or not. That's the A.J. Dybantsa, D-Y-B-A-N-T-S-A.
Yeah, where is he? I did see that. Where is he from?
I think he's from out in Utah.
Okay.
He's a tall guy, big center type, but he can pull it up and shoot from outside, and he can go inside. He can do it all, but it's apparently between Baylor, Alabama, Auburn, Kansas and Kansas State, and BYU and North Carolina. So he definitely picked a good game to go to.
Yeah. So I know they take advantage of these games. This staff does. They usually have a tent out there in front of the stadium, and recruits can come by there and eat and hang out, and so it creates quite a buzz. So it's a good deal for them.
Well, that's right. Well, it's on now, and I'm looking forward to the picks this week, and all that, and getting into a routine with you guys and having a fun season. So appreciate what y'all do for us.
Yeah, next Monday. I guess Dad Max will start next Monday. Is that right?
What's that?
Max Howell will start next Monday.
Yeah, he's supposed to. I talked to him the other day, and he said he wanted to wait until the SEC got started. So I guess that'll be next Monday.
Yeah. So it'll feel like our show's back on track. We have Max on Mondays and talking a little college football about what happened over the weekend and what's coming up. Sounds like Coach DeBoer is pretty happy with the scrimmage. Is that what you took out of that, Phil?
Yeah, he does. It sounded like he was really pleased that they had such a physical scrimmage. He talked about that for a little while, so I don't think there's any doubt that part pleased him. And and it was good to see some fresh names in there, making some plays like Rico Scott and guys like that. I don't know how Daniel Hill's doing. Daniel Hill's arm was in a sling, and I'm not even sure if he was able to participate. Do you know how the other running backs may have done better?
I know, obviously Haynes, and then I think Richard Young was out, Young was out.
Richard Young played.
Yeah, but Miller, I guess, was out. One of them was out. Nothing serious there, but
yeah.
I haven't heard how they did. I know he was bragging on the defensive line, how well they played against the run. So that would lead me to believe we didn't run the ball great if they were doing so good against the run. So, but it's hard when you're playing against each other. It's very difficult to really tell, to be quite honest with you, because they.
I was going to say that they successfully managed the morning practices this year, so that's over and done with. And of course, we got this final week of practice coming up before game week starts this weekend. But they handled that well and got the morning practices behind them, and we've got 5 more workouts beginning tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, to be interested, Wednesday school starts, so that's when that morning practice is great now, and they get to go home and do whatever. Now they're going to have to get through a practice and then go to class. So their schedules are about to change tremendously, so it'll be long days for these guys, so they got to make sure it's pretty nice when they get to practice and then they're done. Now they got to add school to that starting Wednesday, so that's when they become a true student athlete come this Wednesday.
I bet you can't even move over there right now in Tuscaloosa.
It's bad. They're rolling in here for sure. So
rolling in here from Illinois, New Jersey, and Dodge.
Yeah, they on Saturday the kids were moving in the dorms where you have certain times that you can come in and get in. Well, they had a weather deal, so they kind of shut down, not letting him. And those cars were backed up because they were sitting there waiting on them to lift the weather ban. Ain't no telling how long it took those people to get in those dorms on Saturday. So,
awful.
Yeah. So anyway,
talk to you guys tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks. That is different when when you're just practicing and that's it. That's all your responsibility you have. Now you throw school on top of it, especially for these young guys, the freshmen and all that, and they're going to practice in the morning. So I think most of these guys' classes now are afternoon classes, where most of the time they used to go to class in the mornings, and they'd come over there and eat lunch and then get ready for football. It's just a totally different schedule. So that's going to be new for these guys. Just your thoughts about how that will all change come Wednesday.
Well, there's always some concern about kids being tired and then trying to go to class. Yeah, I don't. That's a little bit scary. I think a little bit. They have some time to rest between practice and class. On some days, and some days they don't. I'll just see how it goes. I think it's the way to go, but it's just different for me to think about it.
I just wonder. Maybe a lot of it's online now. I just wonder, most of your classes that you need are offered in the mornings. There's very limited classes offered in the afternoon. Are there going to be enough to give you what you need? in order to get toward, like if you got to have a certain classes and all, that would be my only worry. You limit your teachers in the afternoon. They kind of know who to kind of stay away from and who to take, but there's only so many classes in the afternoon. So I would think that would, unless they just add classes there because of football, I imagine that would make it a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure they figured all that out. All right, we'll take the break here. 2-minute truck. We're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. It's local, out of town, out of state, no problem. Let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. Give them a call today for the free estimate, 205-247-5050. That's 2-minute truck movers who care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, not having to worry about too much around the area. Cones and barrels is about the only thing. And it's always on McFarland on east and westbound lanes between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen Wallace. And you've also got more road work on 2059 eastbound between Western Bypass and
Renovation. Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, let's just get to the opening statement. They had the final scrimmage. They'll practice this week, take the weekend off, and then boom, it's game week next week. So that's when you know it's getting real. But here was Coach DeBoer's opening statement after the scrimmage over in Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday.
Scrimmage number 2 weeks from today, we're on the field, game day. So, days are counting down and, another really productive scrimmage. Different situations, from what we probably got into just naturally, not even scripted or, being intentional, just, a little bit more red zone inside the 10 work, that happened at the end. Really, again, good give and take. I think the defense they did a good job against the run early. Offense hit a couple explosives. Just trying to give you an overall summary. I think, a couple takeaways by the defense, but did a great job of having to make it happen. Tip ball, diving player, great play. So, love that from the defensive side, that when those plays were to be made, they made them. I think offensively, on the, just to flip it, some, pass catches, by the receivers, which were extremely competitive, with great defense, and coming down with those balls was good to see. And, the positioning by the defense was also good to see. So, very physical. I thought it was a very physical, scrimmage, it is definitely the most, physical scrimmage we've had since we've been here, out of the 4 or 5 counting the spring game. And so, got through relatively healthy, some things, this week with a couple guys that will hold them probably out, for a few practices, but by the end of the week, we should, for the most part, be having the guys that we need to be out there, practicing, getting ready for, week 1 against Western Kentucky. So, getting some of the guys back that maybe, were dinged up over the last week or two, slowly but surely. Kept a couple guys out, just if they had to play, they could have. A guy like Jam Miller, I know you guys are well aware, just dinged up a week ago, and so just could have gone today if he needed to. Just not getting too crazy and being smart. So we're getting healthier, I think, even though we got a few guys dinged up today. Questions?
All right, told you nothing. All right. Dad, did you hear anything out of that?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear anything really, just coaches talk.
Yeah, I mean, he's very generic. Only player he talked about was the one that didn't practice, Jam Miller, so didn't give you any names or anything about anything there. So, I don't know. All right, let's talk about let's go to the third clip there, about the cornerbacks, and how they're doing currently. That third clip there, Chase, let's go to that.
Come together over the course of the preseason. Yeah, I thought they were really on top of receivers all day long. They understand their responsibilities in the right position. I'm sure there's a couple of clips we can find. I mean, that's always going to be the case where, they could have been better, but really nothing as far as like busted assignments. I think they continue to get better each and every day. They're practicing out there and they really want to do it. There's a high level of want to, and they know a lot of eyes are on them. And so I'm really proud of the way they continue to bring it each and every day. Some physicality out there. I thought they had times when they needed to tackle and they got guys to the ground. Again, laid some hits on some guys running routes, both receivers, tight ends. So a lot of good things from that group. They continue to grow. They continue to improve each and every day and each and every week.
All right, let's go to the last clip there about the kicker position and how that's going. I think that could be important this year. Obviously, we've had a very reliable kicker here that's not here anymore, the all-time leading scorer. And so let's hear what Coach had to say about the kickers.
First of all, Burnip, he's had an amazing camp. This spring, the first couple of days, I'll be flat out honest, the first couple of days of spring ball, I thought, man, he got a lot of potential, can be a little more consistent. You saw it at the end of spring ball, that consistency happened, and then he has been nothing but just phenomenal all camp, from day one. So I was interested to see how he'd come through the summer, and if he was ready to go. He was definitely ready to go, and he just continues to not just kick it, with great hang time and have distance, but, those specialty areas where you're trying to pin people down inside the 10. He's been really, really consistent that way too. Long snapper, got a veteran there with Nealand. Feel really good about him. And then it's been really good for our kickers to get in the stadium since in the last week, for sure, but in the last week and a half, they've come over and taken a lot more reps. Just the kind of visualization and understanding, depth perception. I know you should, for all of us, right, you should be able to line up, and if it's a 25 or 35-yard field goal, it's just go out there and kick it. But I think there's a lot of visual things on understanding the inside of the stadium. They continue to do that. On the practice field, it's been super consistent. So it's just a matter of translating that over here. And I thought this week was a step up, not just today, but in the other days when they've been coming over here and doing their thing as well, whether it's with the team or on their own.
All right, just how important is that punter? He's very. Those guys can flip the field, obviously, and to have a good one, he sounds like he's very happy with Burnip there, and obviously you got to get the ball back to the punters. These guys don't get talked about a ton, but the kicking game can win and lose you a lot of games.
Well, kicking game is set you up for opportunity to play defense and get an easy basket, easy field goal, or easy touchdown. The kicking game is good and sets people back. And I think it's something we don't talk about a great deal. We don't always talk about the offense and defense and forget the kicking game. But I think field goal and punting is going to be okay.
All right, let's talk about the right tackle position. Obviously, there's a local product here that went to Northridge High School. He's Wilkin Formby's involved in that, obviously. So a lot of interest in that here locally for sure, the local guy, because people think a lot about he and his family there, and they're excited to see if he can win this battle. But here's what we hear about the right tackle position.
That right tackle battle, what do you see out of those guys today?
Yeah, it certainly is. Just going to be a position, I think, that until we really get to some game time reps, I don't know if we'll have it completely ironed out just based on how it's gone so far. And so, both guys have their strengths and things they do really well. And those come out and, it's not like I feel like either of them are a liability. I think it's just a matter of figuring out which one is going to be our guy. And they both have done a lot to earn a lot of reps, so maybe we'll take that back a week from now if something else continues to evolve where one guy really steps up, but that seems to be the direction it's headed right now.
All right, have you ever had that, Dad, where guys just really, they're close, they won't separate themselves in practice, they both have different strengths there, and I know that happens on the basketball court, and you got to get to the game, and then normally one guy will be a gamer, something will come out in the game to kind of separate them, but you have to get there to figure that out. Just talk through that a minute.
Well, whatever is close in practice will not be close in the game, generally speaking. Somebody that in the game both of them will play, and most of the time one of them really excels where they were kind of close in practice. So I think that's basically what happens. You get guys that do well in the practice part of it, but game part of it they do really well. Some of them do really poorly, and you go the other way with the other player. I don't know about the depth chart where they have that out or not yet. I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Coach Saban normally handed it out on that Monday game week, and he usually had or slash, and he had a lot of guys starting there when he hated depth charts because the media just pours over them, and it affects players' psyche. Going back to the kicker, I was talking to, we were at a thing on campus, and one of the kickers' dads and I were talking, and he was just saying, and we heard Coach talk about it. He said, he said the first few times, and these are all new guys, when they kick in that stadium, it's just totally different than kicking out there on that practice field. The big open stadium, that's kind of like in basketball shooting, the backgrounds are different in a lot of different places, the depth perception and all those things. I gotta imagine, man, getting in that stadium and kicking's a lot different being on the practice field. I don't know that I wouldn't have my kickers kicking in the stadium all the time to get used to that environment in there. But just talk about the different depth perceptions, and in a humongous place like that's a lot different than just being on the practice field.
Well, it really is. So many times in basketball, you go and shoot, and there's not any background at all. You just don't shoot as well. And I think your background is different in kicking the football, and your extra points, or even your field goals. It's different, and the crowd makes it different. And it's a lot of pressure on you. A lot of pressure standing over that putt, the two putt, to get in the final 52. Same type of thing. I don't know how they do it. Sometimes it's they got to be mentally. I don't think Nick knew what he was particularly realized it's the difference. But with kickers, I think it's. Al Del Greco is a good friend of mine. He would talk about all the time when I was on a radio show with him about the mental part of being ready to, and talked about the one time he came in and wasn't, mentally was upset and didn't kick it well. So the mental and physical go together, and we know they're good, but we don't know how good they are until they get with a stadium full.
Yeah, so just kicking over there, the depth perception, all that is just completely different. So, on that Nick Dunlap deal, they talk about a lot of times, and I don't know if I believe this, like Victor Hovland and those guys, they don't even look up at the scoreboard. They're just playing, and they're trying to birdie every hole or whatever. But do you believe that? And if you were Nick Dunlap and you're standing on 18, and you got to make a par.
Well, I don't think,
would you want to know that, or would you not want to know that? Because obviously he's going to try to make the best score he can, but that adds a little more pressure.
I don't want to know it.
I would think.
And the reason for that is the driver struggled. He struggled with the driver yesterday. He was all over the lot. He made two pars that could easily been bogeys. One of them a double bogey, and got out from under it, but. When he said it was a train wreck for him, it was a train wreck for him. He didn't have a good day with the driver. And when you don't have a good day with the driver, it really bothers you on your second shot. You don't have a good look at the second shot. So I think you're better off not knowing. I know that he I know that he knew, according to his caddy, who's from Montgomery, he didn't know where he was, but he knew he was close. He was close to getting in. He was close to losing it, getting out of that group. So he just knew he was close, but he was not sure that a par was going to do it. The announcers were, but he wasn't.
Yeah. I was just curious. Would you want to know that? I would think you would not, just because it would add,
especially the way you've been playing.
Yeah, it would add a little.
18 has been. If you looked at, studied it, watched as much as I did, 18 has been a big booger bear hole for them all week. They just struggle like the dickens with it for whatever reason, and making a par there was big.
Yep. All right, let's get right here to the yellow hotline. I've got Tom back in. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Barry. Hey, Coach. Look, I'm sorry. I forgot it was the question I wanted y'all to ask Doug in addition to the condensed field going to Colorado. If you don't mind, I apologize for calling. And trying to hog show it. I'm not trying to do that.
No, what you got? What you got?
I want you to ask him. It looks like that Nick Dunlap is going to be awarded the title of Rookie of the Year. I read some articles last night after the St. Jude, and they were saying that by winning out west and then winning another tournament as a professional, which had not been done, and then making the playoff as a rookie, that probably secured the Rookie of the Year award to him. I wanted to know, does the PGA give a financial reward for being named the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I think he's a lock to get Rookie of the Year now.
I do too.
I don't think they do, Tom, but I could be wrong.
Coach, I thought I had read where somebody a couple of years ago, I can't remember where I got the information because I read so darn much off of the golf channel.
What was the first question you wanted, Barry?
Well, I wanted to see kind of what the payout was going to be. Now, they're going to condense that field from Memphis to Colorado. And so it's going to be 50 of them with the same amount of money up for grabs, $20 million.
Right.
All right. Here's my question: Hideki won the tournament there. Would that automatically put you in the 30? Jump to 50 all the way to 30?
Yeah. Because he had a substantial amount of points going in.
All right. So yesterday, Max Homa and Roy McIlroy were last. And they made $40,600.
Right.
So I guess you're saying if you're 50, then let's see what 50 was. Of course, you're not.
Yeah, I didn't think about looking at it like that.
Well,
that's a good idea.
You got all the extra money though that wouldn't have been paid below 50. But the guy at 50 made $47,000. So
you probably can double that.
Yeah, you probably get $70,000 or something. They're going to pay for the trip. Let's put it that way, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. You're not going to go hungry.
All right.
You'll be able to buy a hamburger or two out there with $70,000.
There you go.
But anyway, I wanted to ask about that Rookie of the Year thing. I think that thing pays like $800,000 to win it.
I don't know. I ask him.
Really?
We'll ask him. I
do. I thought I read that somewhere.
Never heard that.
Doug's good. I went up to Birmingham yesterday to see Mom and Dad, and Jenny and I did. And on the way back, we listened to the PGA Tour radio, and Doug was on there. And Doug does a good job on the radio. So
what's that channel? Because I've been traveling.
You're telling me $800,000 to win Rookie of the Year?
I think so.
It's 92, I think, on XM radio.
Okay, all right. I searched it on Sirius. I've got that on my phone and in the car.
Yeah,
and
92.
I couldn't find it.
92.
Oh, all right, thanks.
All right, see you.
See you.
All right, we'll take this break. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Hey, coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, we're going to recap Alabama's final scrimmage. We'll provide you the latest from Kayla DeBoer. We'll get you ready for another busy week on the campus of the University of Alabama. We'll do it with Barrett Salee. We'll do it with Drew Yarman, Martin Houston, all starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. I'm seeing some pretty thick delays right now in Cottondale, and this is on Highway 11. You're going to find that in both the east and westbound direction between Hagler-Coling Road and moving on over here to Keppel Loop. So just watch out for that. Also looking at
Code BETTER for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com. Code BETTER to save 15% today.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather not as humid today. The sky mostly sunny, the high 89. Clear and pleasant tonight, the low 66. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny both days, highs between 87 and 90. And Thursday, we stay dry, the sky sunny, the high 89. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Roll Tide, the best sports talk, period. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Chase, you're a big NFL guy. You like the NFL? Do you play the fantasy football and all that?
I might get into it. My friend's been bugging about it. I didn't do it last year because I had classes, but I'm going to see if I can do it.
All right. So week one for the NFL, it's not until September. They practice a long time. So the first game in the NFL will not be until September the 5th when the Ravens take on the Chiefs. So we still got a little bit for that. Dad, you been studying any on your Blue Plate special for this week, or not enough games to really have to study that much for this?
Oh, yeah, and I'm having a hard time with it, Barry.
There's only one game to pick from, really.
Oh, no, you're dead wrong about that.
What do you mean? There's only 4 games.
I think SMU game's a big game.
Okay, so that's one you're looking at.
Well, no, I'll look at all of them. I don't know. I hate to try to do it this early, but I guess if it's a non-counter, it'll be okay. We
gotta have some reason to want to watch these games, so we always want to watch it just to see if you hit. So you got.
I don't know the line yet. I've gone to try to have the Vegas app.
If you'll just go to ESPN and you'll go to scores and it'll say top 25, but if you'll go just to FBS 1.
Oh, hold on a minute. Let me write this down. But I gotta have it. So go ahead. Go and give it to me.
When you're on ESPN, go to college NCAAF. That's national. That's football. Then you go to scores. And when you go to scores, if you go right across where it says college football scoreboard, it's going to say top 25. You want to click on that and go down to FBS 1A, and then that will pull up all of it.
FBS 1A?
Yeah, it's the second down from the top 25. When you do that, it'll pull up every team that's playing.
Because ain't top 25 is playing except Georgia Tech and Florida State.
Right, so that would be the only game listed. But if you do FBS 1, then it's going to show you the SMU, Nevada, Delaware State, Hawaii, and the Montana State, New Mexico.
Well, they want me to talk about it, and I will talk about it. SMU's defense, I don't know who I'm going to pick.
Okay.
SMU's defense was good last year and is really good this year. The only problem that you have with a 27.5 point plus, I think that's correct. You know, all Nevada would have to do would be kick a field goal and you lose. So I don't know, and if the quarterback that's going to Alabama was involved with them offensively last year, which I can't find out for sure what he did. That's transferring. I assume won't be playing, so it may not be as good offensively.
Quarterback for who?
For SMU.
Okay. SMU currently is a 27.5-point favorite. This game's on the road. This game's on the road.
27.5-point favorite. But my point in trying to say this to you is that if you score the 28 points and they score a field goal, you lose. You 27.5 plus 3, you get beat. So that's the one I've been trying to figure out. I have studied them to the point that their defense is really, really good. Now, what really, really good means is that, you know, they're not going to give up much. They're not going to give up much. But somewhere along the line, if they give up a field goal, you have a chance to lose. So, in the other game, both teams, Florida State and Georgia Tech, are well coached. I'm not sure that the quarterback at Florida State, coming from Clemson, is as good as they say he is.
No, he was, Clemson to Oregon State, now to Florida State.
Yeah, that's right. So he's been 3 places. I wouldn't be surprised that the guy at Georgia Tech is so good that when Kalen gets through doing what he wants to do at Alabama, that he would be a candidate for Alabama's job. He's good. He worked at Alabama. I don't know what the line is, either 12 or 14.
No, it's 11.5 currently.
All right, 11.5. So the other two I haven't studied that much. And it is, I'd like to hit it correctly, and it's being a transfer league, a transfer in NCAA football transfer deal. You have a very difficult time. You know, guys like me, I've been pretty fortunate in the past, but being able to figure out exactly what direction to go with the transfers, because you're never sure how good they're going to play, how much, it's just. And the other two, I haven't studied that much.
Yeah, and then next Thursday, man, there's a ton of games. I mean, not great games, but they got a lot of football a week from Thursday, and actually one of our local teams here, UAB, will play against Alcorn State up at Protective Stadium on that.
The problem
Thursday.
you got, Barry, is unless you're just a football guru, and I'm not. I try to keep up a little bit of all of it through the show. You just those kinds of games. You're a little bit. You have to be a little bit lucky, and I think it's just hard. I think you're more difficult to pick now than they've ever been because of the transfer route.
The portal. All right, we'll take this break. We got Doug Bell join us at 8:15. Look forward to having Doug. We don't think Yellowwood who brought you this 7 o'clock hour. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then believe me, you don't want it.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In Major League Baseball games of note, the Yankees lose to the Tigers 3-2 in 10 innings at the Little League Classic in Williamsport, PA. Meanwhile, the Orioles beat the Red Sox 4-2, so Baltimore once again moves back into a tie with New York for first in the AL East. Battle of Division leaders saw the Brewers shut off the Guardians 2-0. Milwaukee starter Colin Ray, 7 shutout innings. He and 2 relievers combined on a 2-hit shutout. Milwaukee, the NL Central leaders, sweep the 3-game series from Cleveland, the AL Central leaders. It was the Dodgers, the NL West top team, getting a Shohei Ohtani home run, his 39th of the year, to help defeat the Cardinals 2-1. Astros shut out the White Sox 2-0. Houston starter Framber Valdez, 7 shutout innings. He and 2 relievers combined on a 3-hit shutout. Houston with a 4-game lead on Seattle atop the AL West.
For Town Square Media Tuscaloosa radio websites, fill out the Advertise Here form. Put the power of Town Square Media to work for your business.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Andrew Kniffer, he's my Allstate insurance agent. Let him become yours out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give Andrew and the staff a call. They'll set you right up. 205-722-9201. 205-722-9201. Andrew Kniffer. Allstate Insurance. All right, Dad, as they start to get to the depth chart, I think these guys probably pretty much have a pretty good feel kind of for where they stand, but some kids maybe don't. Maybe there is a battle there for first or second string there, but you're going to have a scout team. I know a lot of walk-on guys fill that role this year. Next year, we'll see with the 105 scholarships how they do these rosters. But do you and I think over the weekend, the position coaches all brought the players to their own houses to have, I don't know if that was lunch or dinner. They had Squad Sunday yesterday, which is a tradition they've done for, I think, in the mid-'60s, where the whole football team goes to Calvary church there. So doing some things off the field, but do you have the position coach bring it? Does Coach DeBoer get involved in talking with these kids about where their role is going to start out, just to make sure they understand, hey, you may be on the scout team, but we think you have a bright future. Just keep working. Do you talk to these guys individually about where they are as we get to next week and the real depth chart comes out, or you just let them?
If you do, you talk to them as a team. You don't run from house to house and try to talk to them individually by position. If you do, you talk about your feelings about the team and where they are on the team. Not called, but where you think you are is not necessarily where you are. Everybody's going to have an opportunity. The things he wants to say to them. So you do that as a team. The meeting with them by position is a great way to do things. Because your position coach is with you so much, but when you get ready to say something that involves everybody, you don't go from pillar to post. You talk about it with your whole team. That's what I would do. So.
But then do you say, hey, if you guys want to understand where you are, or have a better feel, then set up an appointment with me, come by, and we'll talk to you exactly and tell you this is exactly what we see, where you need to improve, your strengths, your weaknesses, or where you kind of fit in.
No, I don't think you do.
Oh, really?
No, I don't think you do. I think you're I think that you, as the head coach, you're talking about the head coach doing that?
Well, I'm saying assistant or head coach, but I mean, if you do it as a group.
Well, I think assistant coaches do that by their position.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think that if you listen to his press conferences, they've been very general. They haven't been specific about anything. And I think that you're general with them. I don't think that you need to, but they need to leave there with a bad feeling about what's going on. They're going to leave there knowing everybody's going to get an opportunity to show what they can do once the games start. He's been general with us. He's been very general. He hadn't talked about the quarterback, and we don't know who the second string quarterback is particularly. We know the running backs are good. We know the defense got better. But the defense secondary is working hard. Those kinds of things in general, but not in specifics. And I think that you're better off as the head coach to talking to your team in general. He's trying to keep everybody as happy as he can keep them, I think, and let them show what they can do when they play. That's just my feeling.
They're going to call back home, and they're going to say, where are you? Where were you on the depth chart? And the kid's got to say whatever. I mean, they probably lie. I don't know. But they're going to talk to your high school coaches, this, that, and the other. I just think it's the portal stuff. Of course, it's so early in the season. I know they can't get the portal to the end, but just making sure that these guys.
I just don't think you define something right now. I don't think that's fair. I don't think you define. I don't. I think you.
So a guy's going to be on the scout team. You just throw him on the scout team, and he's not going to factor in the game plan at all.
I think he's going to be told by the assistant coach his position, where he is a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think after several days, there's a knock on your door as the head coach, because your daddy has said that, find out from the position coach and go talk to coach about it. So I think there are knocks on the door to see 1,000 more knocks than people realize that on radio shows. But I think generally speaking, you try to talk to them as a football team, not an individual where they can run here and run there. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm not saying DeBoer is going to sit down, but I think maybe not here, but after the first game, like if you do that, at least some of these guys are young, like that. They think they're going to get in the game, and they don't. And then they're kind of walking out, and everybody's come in to watch them, and they don't even go out there and take a snap where they were the star on their high school team. I think those are emotions that these kids have a hard time dealing with. Their roles completely change coming from high school or even junior college at the University of Alabama.
Always a way to do it. That's it's a big part of trying to. I guess you had to say the word keeping them happy because of the transfer portals now enter into it so much. You'll have somebody leaving that's going to be a shock to everybody. You just will. And we won't have anybody coming in because it won't be talked about right now. They'll have somebody coming in that they've already gotten the assistant coach has gotten a call from, and they've had scrimmages, and they don't like the way things are going, and Alabama had recruited them and lost them, and so it wasn't the way they thought it was going to be when they got there. So that now they're interested in Alabama. Those things will come up. We won't hear about them until they come in for a visit or whatever they want to do. So it's a very, very difficult thing. The coaching part of it is in order to keep every guy playing on hard and playing them, getting after each other, and disappointment sets in. If you don't have some backing at home to try to counteract disappointment, it's not easy.
Yeah. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get Doug. We got a pile of questions for Doug, so we'll get to Doug Bell. Before we do it, though, we want to thank Tuscaloosa Toyota. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. Plenty of inventory out there for you to pick from. If you want to go to the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com, you could go to the new inventory tab. They got a pre-owned inventory tab. You can schedule a service right there to save you some time. You're going on a trip, you want to rent a Toyota, you can do that right there on the website. The deals are great out of Tuscaloosa Toyota. They'll take great care of you. It'll be a relationship forever. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com or swing by Skyland Boulevard, see Justin, see David, and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. Listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, roads leading to McFarland getting a lot thicker now. Definitely 43 on the southbound hookup to McFarland. You've got heavies back to Flatwoods Road. And we're also looking at 69 bumper-to-bumper traffic on the southbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard as well. That's got traffic heavy back to Sellers.
/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather not as humid today. The sky mostly sunny, the high 89. Clear and pleasant tonight, the low 66. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny both days, highs between 87 and 90. And Thursday, we stay dry, the sky sunny, the high 89. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We'll get right to the Yellowwood Hotline. He's play-by-play PGA Tour Radio. PGA Tour Live, CBS Sports headquarters was over in Memphis yesterday calling the tournament. I did listen to him on the radio a little bit. Doug Bell. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Hey, Doug.
Barry,
Hey, Coach. Yeah, it was a hot week, but a really good week for a lot of reasons, especially Nick Dunlap, guys.
I tried to call you last night about that. I wanted to ask you, had the tournament he won, had he won that not being an amateur, there wouldn't have been a sweat out like there was yesterday. And I didn't understand. I thought that, but going to the last hole, a very difficult hole to par to get in. I thought he was way, way ahead, and I was dead wrong. Explain that to our listeners.
Well, and they really should change the rule. It should be the Nick Dunlap rule, because if you win a PGA Tour event, you get 500 FedEx Cup points in the regular season. And because he won as an amateur, he never got to take advantage of those points, although when he turned professional, he got all the other benefits. He's exempt until 2027, et cetera. But the fact that he didn't get those 500 FedEx Cup points up until he won the Barracuda Championship, about a month ago, he wasn't even inside the top 70, which would have gotten him into Memphis. And then when he wins Barracuda, which was an opposite field event, opposite from the Open Championship, he got 300 points. I know it sounds complicated, but Coach, if they'd allowed him to get those 500 points after he turned pro, then he would have had no problem getting into Memphis. As it was, listen, he got in.
I know.
He's a two-time winner in his rookie season, and then played fantastic on Saturday, playing with Scotty Scheffler for the first time in his career. And I interviewed him, and he thought that was just – he told Hunter Hambrick, his caddy, on 17, he goes, "This is so cool. This is so much fun." And that shows a lot about the 20-year-old guy.
That driver kind of left him yesterday a little bit.
Well, it's funny, guys. He hits it a long way, and he was hitting it past Scheffler. I mean, he can bomb it. But at the same time, he hits some foul balls. And when he goes foul, he is way foul. I mean,
yeah, sure was.
Sometimes he hits a shot, he's like, my goodness, that's 75 yards wide, right?
Yeah.
But
he made par out of some of them that could have been very easily bogey.
And I'll tell you this, guys, it's the first time I'd actually walked with him an entire round since the American Express, and I got to interview him and saw his mom and dad. He's 20 years old. And if he hadn't turned pro, he would have been in the U.S. Amateur again, defending his championship. He'd have been at the University of Alabama, just a student golfer, right? But now he's got this whole different life, and he's a mature kid. I mean, not many 20-year-olds could have stood there and done all the interviews that he did in a very calm manner and been as articulate and as he was. I was blown away, guys. I'm really impressed by this young guy.
Well, I didn't understand, Doug, on Saturday, I think when he was in second place, they showed his ranking. It was like 18 or 19. And then all of a sudden, a few guys jump him on Sunday. And then when he's standing on 18T, and they said if he makes a par, he's in the top 50. Yeah. If he makes a bogey, he's going to be 51. Like, wow, just that one little jump 2 or 3 spots, and it went from 18 or 19 to possibly out of the top 50. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the volatility of the playoffs, and that's kind of what made it exciting yesterday. Not only did you have the great finish with Hideki Matsuyama winning and birding the last 2 holes, but you had Nick and some other guys trying to scramble to get inside the top 50. Well, and here's the deal. Since he's in the top 50, guys, he is in all the signature events next year.
Yeah.
And those are the big money events.
Yeah, the announcer said that he had played with Scotty before. I guess he hadn't, because you would know.
Well, maybe in a practice round, but, I asked him, and never in a competitive round.
Yeah.
And so, it's a little bit different, I think, when you're actually out there and everything counts.
We got a couple of questions to ask you. The only one I can remember, I can remember both of them, but Barry asked you the other one. If he gets Rookie of the Year, will he get monetary money?
No, it's just
I think so.
It's a great honor. I mean, because they now call it the Arnold Palmer Award.
There's no money in getting Rookie.
No, not unless. Now I don't know what his tailor-made contract has. Sometimes those contracts built in with a win, you get a bonus.
Yeah.
And I know he gets a bonus for making the playoffs, and he gets another bonus for making the top 50. there may be a built-in bonus if he's Rookie of the Year. I don't know. And he's going to win it. You know, Max Grazerman, the guy who messed up at the end of the Wyndham, and shot 63 yesterday, but he got bumped out. And Jake Knapp, who won earlier this year, and he didn't make the top 50 either. So it's voted on by the players, and Nick Dunlap is going to be voted the Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's the only rookie with 2 victories.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the first time in history a guy has won 2 tournaments in the same season when you're an amateur and PGA Pro. That's never happened until this year.
Yeah, we had a caller want to know, okay, you got a field of 50. I think the purse is the same. So even if you finish 50th this week, these guys will make more money this week. No cut, right? So they take that money and just spread out over 50 as opposed to spreading it out over 70 guys. Is that correct, Doug?
It is. The big thing, though, is the points in the playoffs are quadrupled. So Hideki yesterday, instead of 500 points, he got 2,000 points. And so he moves all the way up to third. It's still Scotty who's way ahead, and he's going to be, unless Hideki wins again and Scotty doesn't play well this week, Scotty will be number 1 going to Eastlake, Atlanta. Xander, who came on strong yesterday, almost got in a playoff. He'll be number 2. And then Rory finished almost last in Memphis and seemed very uninterested. Didn't seem like he wanted to be there. And he got passed by Hideki, but he's still number 4. But, yeah, the points, you know, the winner, I think Hideki got $3.6 million yesterday. Again, these purses are incredible. But, yeah, since there's only 50 guys, you'll make more money. But the bottom line is you want to make the top 30.
Yeah.
Because that's when you get those bonuses. And the last place, you know, if you finish 30th at Eastlake, you still get $1 million.
If Hideki having won, does that jump him to the 30 regardless of how he plays with the 50? It doesn't, does it?
Well, I mean, he's now third, and so he's going to go to Eastlake regardless of how he plays this week, Coach. He's going to probably nobody's going to pass him unless, you know, some of those guys in the top 10
win.
I'll
tell you one thing, Doug. He plays about as well. He's about as good a iron player as you're going to find anywhere. He is really good.
Well, yeah, no, he's one of the best in the world. But the thing yesterday, guys, you know, on the 7th hole, his shot was short of the green, and they explained it on TV. And as he walked up to the hole, you know, there's the ball, the hole, so he walks in that line up, and his pitch mark was not on the green, and he stepped on it. And you're not allowed to do that. And so that's when, you know, it was reported to the PGA referee. He went, looked at the TV monitor, and they looked at the monitor, but not until the 12th hole did they came out and actually asked Hideki, you have to ask the player, did you do that on purpose? And they had a translator, and it, you know what? It messed Hideki up because after they approached him, you know, I think he went bogey, he had a double and another bogey. And so, guys, he was actually one shot behind going to 17. And then, of course, 17 is a incredibly difficult hole. And he birdied that, and then 18 is really hard, too. And he birdied that. And Nick Dunlap parred it, needing a par. So it was pretty exciting coming down the stretch. So I think the PGA Tour, when they devised this playoff formula, you know, it's kind of complicated. We talk about it every week about the points, et cetera. But I think yesterday, the people who came up with that are finally, this is what the playoffs is supposed to be, an exciting finish. And then we have these guys still trying to get in the top 50. So that made for pretty good watching on TV.
Did you say everybody gets to Atlanta? You make $1 million? Did you say that even the guy that finishes 30th?
Yeah, you get the bonus, and it comes down from the top, you know, like the number one, the FedEx Cup champion. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this year they get $20 million on top of what you get for winning. And then it falls all the way down. Yeah, if you make the final 30, number one, you get in all the major championships the following year, all of them, signature events and major championships. And even if you're the last place guy in Eastlake, you get that extra money. So yeah, no, at the beginning of the year, all those guys want to make the final 30. It makes life very easy. And so that's why these guys, listen, when you're 30 through 50 this week, Nick Dunlap, Nick needs to keep playing hard and try to make that final 30. That would be an incredible year. He's already had an incredible year, but if he wins twice and then somehow makes it to Eastlake in his rookie season, wow. That'd be phenomenal.
What will he have to do in the 50 to make the 30, would you say?
Well, Coach, he's going to have to do what he did this week. He's going to have to top 10, and then some of the guys are going to have to falter, which, the top guys.
Even after his play in the top 70?
Yeah, he's 48 now. He's only 40.
He's 48, yeah. He's going to have to jump 18 players. So he's going to,
I don't like the way they do it.
Well, I'm not exactly sure about the math, but I think he would have to finish maybe even top 5 to advance to the final 30. So, and listen, I just can't tell you, when you watch him on TV, it's one thing, but I get to watch these guys and follow them inside the ropes. Here's the deal. Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele are the two best players in the world. And when you get a chance to watch them and how consistent they are, and even when they're not playing great, they may turn around that some guys would be 2 or 3 over, and they're 1 or 2 under. That's just how good they are.
Yeah.
And then you watch a guy like Nick Dunlap, and there's stretches where he's every bit as good as Scotty Scheffler and Xander, and you're like, wow, this kid is supremely gifted. Then all of a sudden he hits these crazy shots. And you're like, all right, he's 20 years old and he's still learning. He hits some. They're almost comical, and he'll even laugh sometimes. He's like, wow, I missed that one.
Out of bounds.
But what a experience he's gotten this year. Used to play in those environments with those guys. So, that's tremendous for him in the future. This guy's only 20 years old.
Barry, it's phenomenal. And, here's the deal. Hunter Hambrick, who was a longtime assistant at Alabama and a really good player at Alabama, and actually played a few PGA events, U.S. Opens, et cetera. He was on his bag at the American Express only for that 1 week. He'd already retired from the University of Alabama coaching staff, and he was going to take over his dad's, I think, insurance business. And then all of a sudden Nick wins, turns pro, and he's like, hey, why don't you stay on the bag? Let's see how this goes. I think he's going to be the full-time guy for Nick for the foreseeable future, just like all these other star golfers, right?
Yeah.
And it's profitable. I think Nick is really comfortable with having him on the bag. He recruited him at Alabama, for God's sakes, but I think they're very good friends, and he's a mature influence, I think, on Nick. Not that, he needs somebody, overseeing everything he does, but I think on the golf course, you kind of need that calming influence sometimes, and I think that's what he provides. I will say this, Nick never calls him in to read a putt. Nick does everything on his own. He's an independent contractor out there, and he does it all on his own. Listen, he's an aggressive guy. Sometimes some of these pros are very conservative, but Nick goes after these birdies and sometimes rolls out 4, 5, 6 feet by. Doesn't seem to bother him. He just kind of walks around, regroups, and most of the time, he hits those short putts in hard. That's what those young guys do. They rattle them home, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Listen, I think the future is so bright for this kid. And after I've had a chance to be with him again and talk to him and spend a little time with him, there's just some 20-year-olds in the athletic field that they just have that it factor, right? That moxie, that maturity that is just not normal. It's pretty special when you see a guy like that with that kind of talent and that kind of maturity.
I didn't realize he was born in Northport. So they introduced him in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Where did he go to high school? Do you know, Doug?
I thought he went to high school up in Huntsville. I thought his family, because his dad had a job up there. And this is cool, too, guys. He's got that big Alabama A on his golf bag and his scorebook in his back pocket. It sticks out of his back pocket. It says Roll Tide. And virtually now, Memphis is Southeastern Conference country, mainly Ole Miss country, I guess. But, there were certain holes where the crowd was close to the green, and he would walk up, and the Roll Tide chant would start, and he'd get a big smile on his face. And I just think that's fantastic. He's kind of his popularity is slowly building as people kind of figure out who this guy is.
The strength coach was with him, I heard. They said on television the strength coach from Alabama was there.
He was, and I didn't see Coach Sewell. The crowd was, it was really big this weekend, but especially yesterday. I'm not sure if Coach was there or not. His mom and dad walked the entire week with him, and it was hot, man. And his agent was there. So that's kind of his team. Like we've talked about on the show, he's even 20 years old, but, he's got Hunter on the bag. His agent kind of walks now because, he's a hot commodity. You got to, and he has a strength coach. And I think, when he goes home now, he goes back to that awesome golf facility that they cut the ribbon on in Tuscaloosa, and he's going to continue to practice and work out there. So, and I think that'll be great for the Alabama golf team. Yeah. But listen, life is really good for Nick Dunlap. His parents are great people. They're enjoying the fact that, their kid is, really on an incredible run. Again, I just keep emphasizing to all these people, he is 20 years old. My goodness. I mean, he's got a long way to go, guys.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler's 29. So
that's enough of this. Barry has got me trying to pick a blue plate out of these first 4 games.
Yeah.
And we won't talk to you anymore until next Monday, and I am struggling like the dickens. I need to go different than what you think. It's complicated. Have you studied these first 4 games? You hadn't even studied these first 4 games.
Well, no, I have. I mean, are you talking about FSU, Georgia Tech?
Yeah, that.
But I'm not. Well, the only problem if you say one, then I decide on it. They'll think I got it from you, and I don't want them to think.
We got SMU, Nevada's one he's kind of peeking at.
I got SMU, Nevada. How good is SMU on offense? They're good on defense, boy.
SMU on offense is going to be great.
On offense, they are?
My goodness, Coach. Last year, they broke all sorts of records.
The quarterback's gone, isn't he?
I thought he was back. I mean, I have SMU blowing out Nevada in that opener.
Oh, boy.
Oh, how much?
It's 25.5. I got him covering that. And Georgia Tech's quarterback is the kid from Texas, who went to Texas A&M.
Yeah. How you like on that game?
Well, I mean, and that kid, Jimbo Fisher, didn't treat him right, from what I understand. And his dad, who's a famous high school coach in the state of Texas, gladly saw his kid transfer. And he's a.
So you like Georgia Tech in that game?
Yes. I like Georgia Tech getting 12.5.
It's 11.
What about those other 2 games?
There's only one of them that's got a line. That's Montana State, New Mexico. Doug don't know nothing about those teams.
No, I haven't said that. Well, no, the other one, though, guys, if you wait till August 29th, Minnesota at home against North Carolina. I like Minnesota, given 2 right now. That's what I had. And then that same day, Coastal Carolina's at Jack State. Remember, Jacksonville State?
He wants to be going on them first 4 games. It's hard.
Yeah. One of those 2, like the New Mexico Montana State game. Gosh, New Mexico had the coaching changeover, and Montana State's the powerhouse in FCS or whatever you call that now. That's a hard one. Although I will say Montana State has all those transfer kids. My son who played in the playoffs against Montana State, and my goodness, Montana State is.
They're not thinking much of that home field advantage in Albuquerque. Montana State's a 9.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, Montana State's a powerhouse, and half their roster are transfers from FBS.
Guarantee it.
You confused me on 3 games. I don't know what to do.
Well, no, I can't guarantee until next week, guys. I know another one I guarantee.
Got me doing one for whatever reason.
Doug, I told him it could be an exhibition game. If he wins, I'm going to let him count it. If he loses, he doesn't. And he has complained about he has nothing to lose.
I've been studying all week, and I can't decide which one of the 3 I like.
Doug. I'm letting him pick the game. I'm not going to count it against him. Only if he wins, I'm going to give him credit for it.
I'm going to brag if I win, Doug. I'm going to brag.
He has complained for 3 weeks.
I'm going to brag, Doug, if I win.
Coach, you're playing with house money. Come on.
Yeah, explain that to him.
I mean, gee whiz, he's giving you the free pass to get out of jail free card. You know?
Yeah, if he misses, I might pick on him a little bit. But
no kidding. Yeah,
Here's where it started off. I tried to tell him.
Yeah, and this
he always starts off about everything.
Special,
I tried to tell him.
By the way, is brought to you by the Chuck Norwood team at RE/MAX really at Gulf Shores. So, Doug, if you're buying or selling, you got to get with Chuck down there at Orange Beach, Gulf Shores.
All right.
Supporting the Blue Place Band. Chuck likes to win, so whenever we don't win, we get a text either way, win or lose, but he likes the W's. So,
well, I'm just telling you, Coach, Georgia Tech, and you say it's 11.5 now, Barry? Is that what you have?
Yes.
I like Georgia Tech getting the points. Game day is going to be there. Coach Saban will be there. Reese Davis will be there. Pat McAfee will be there.
Pat McAfee, who cares?
Herb Street might be there. He's come out on social media and said something. So he might be there. He might not.
He's outspoken now. So I'd love to be in a position where you can say whatever you want and not worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the case with Kirk.
Yeah.
I think he feels pretty good about his position.
He must.
I know.
Yeah.
You don't think quarterback at Florida State's any good?
Well, no, I think he's good and he's experienced. This is his 5th year, Coach, and everything. You know, I was listening to a show last week. I mean, Florida State lost a lot of people, but they got a lot of good transfers in too. So that's why I kind of like Georgia Tech early, because most of their guys from last year's team, they played really well at the end of the year.
Oh, boy.
Most of those kids are back. And I'm telling you, if you watch the tape on this quarterback for Georgia Tech, he's the real deal. I don't want you to lean one way or another, Coach. I'm just giving you good intel here.
You are? Oh, boy. So who you taking, Doug? Who you going to roll with? I know you're going to bet.
I got Georgia Tech in the points. I got SMU clobbering Nevada. I got Minnesota at home against North Carolina August 29th, and I got Jacksonville State at home.
All right, starting next week, and Chase, you have to know this, Doug will pick 3 games, and we always tweet out Doug's picks. So if anybody wants to sponsor Doug's picks,
come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
And then we keep his record, so he'll make you believe it, and then it won't happen. But he sounds great as to why he comes up with his picks.
Hey, listen, you told me not to, peel off quite as much intel.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me not to do that, Barry, because I like to do my research.
I want you to do it this way this year. Get all the info, and then whatever it's telling you, go the other way. Right? That's why they set those lines up. They try to bait you. And then just go. Well, I think if you do that, you'll be better.
I will admit I had a bad stretch mid-season. Full disclosure, bad stretch mid-season. But I think I got hot at the end of the year, I believe. It didn't get me out of the hole completely, but
I don't know about hot.
It gave me a lot of momentum heading into this season.
I don't know about hot, but whatever.
And just remember now, if you bet on Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia every week, those 3, the big 3, right?
Yeah.
If you bet on those 3 every week, regardless, point spread, just go with them. At the end of the year, I don't have my numbers in front of me, but you're going to be up like 70% or more. I'm just saying that. Yeah, they cover. Most of those big schools, they cover out of 12 games, they cover 8 to 9 times every year.
Will they cover against Alabama?
Well, that first game, what is it? It's still 31, right?
Yeah.
Alabama, West Kentucky. I'll have something on that next week.
Oh, thank you.
Is that going to be one of your picks?
You never know.
All right. Are you going to Colorado?
No, I'll be home for Colorado, and then I'm going to East Lake.
Is that ball going to fly in Colorado?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I was talking to the guys. Most of those guys get there with their technology, their little computers. They'll get there. They'll try to get there today, certainly by tomorrow, because Xander Schauffele was telling me like an 8-iron. And he said you kind of base everything off your short irons because you hit it higher. And he said in that elevation, he said it's like a club and a half.
Really?
Yeah, because he said it's not only the elevation, but he said it's hot in Colorado right now, and the ball's going to travel. It's traveling farther because of the heat. But he said you factor in the elevation, and he goes, it's crazy. So that's why they really have to get out there.
You got any wind out there?
Well, yeah, because it's up in those mountains. Castle Pines, by the way, is where they used to play the International. And remember that year, Steve Lowry, the old University of Alabama golfer?
Yeah.
He had that incredible finish at the International.
I played with him one time.
Yeah, it used to be a PGA Tour stop, and then for whatever reason, the sponsorship went away. But now it's the first time they've been back in probably 15 years. And when you see it on TV, guys, it is an absolutely breathtaking golf course. I'm so glad they're back there. Castle Pines is really one of the best golf courses in the country. It's just it's high elevation, Barry. There's going to be a lot of arithmetic going on with those players.
Yeah, you caddies better be good. They better be able to calculate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You screwed up 3 games for me in football. I don't know who to pick.
How about Hideki's caddy wasn't there and he won? Is he going to let him caddy this week? They said he was.
Well, that's the craziest thing. When they got done with the Olympics, they were in Heathrow Airport in London, and somebody stole the bag of his caddy and his agent.
Yeah.
And, they just came by and swiped it up. And for some reason, they couldn't go to the Japanese consulate, and they had to fly back to Tokyo. And they are not allowed to back in the country yet, visa issues, etc. Oh. So he went with, his caddy. Ryo Hisasune, a 20-year-old Japanese golfer, was at the Wyndham. And his caddy decided to stay in the United States to caddy for Hideki. And so I think he'll be on the bag again this week.
Oh, they said on TV his caddy was coming back.
Well, they hope so. That's the plan. You just never know about red tape in the government.
They hope it gets stolen again so that same caddy can stay with him.
Well, I guess.
Well, and those Japanese guys, when he bowed to Hideki after he won there, which I thought was pretty neat. Of course, he gets a nice paycheck. I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
He was bowing to the boss.
Yeah, he'll bow to the bank too as he goes.
He also bowed to that guy that stole those 2 bags so he could get catch.
Yeah, he's bowed. That may have been an inside job.
Yeah, he said he bowed to that guy too. Thanks for stealing those bags.
Yeah, you stealing those bags made me $300,000.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that inside job. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe so.
There we go. All right, Doug, tell everybody about MD Wellness and Aesthetics. I can't wait till next week to hear your picks.
Oh, I'm fired up. I really am. Oh, by the way, MD Wellness and Aesthetics, if you want to look younger as we head into football season, we're talking about skin care, hair care, the whole bit, guys, weight loss, MDWellnessandAesthetics.com, 650 Inverness Corners, 205-582-9216. Susan Brignett is the owner. She's a big Auburn fan, loves our show. And Dr. Mancuso is her MD. They're there today, and they open at 10 o'clock local time. So give them a call. It's a free consultation, MD Wellness and Aesthetics.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks,
next
Doug.
week, big week. Talk to you
week next week, Doug. Can't wait. Can't wait. Thank you, Doug. All right, let's tell them about Bryant Bank when we get to break.
Well, Bryant Bank is a traditional banking experience for you when you go in there, and they'll do everything you possibly can to help you. You have the opportunity to bank online around the clock, which is really big. I haven't mentioned this, but they offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique, buying experience, whatever you need there. They're really, really, really smart guys. Your banker is going to be a guy that you'll know, and the bank will be outstanding. The people in the city will appreciate what you do because it's got the same area code, same zip code. And so go by Bryant Bank. Tell me you heard on Inside the Locker Room. Remember the fraud attempts that banks get. You may have 2 accounts there, or you may get 2 accounts there. Both of your accounts will be very, very safe. We appreciate Bryant Bank being on our show. We do everything we possibly can. I trade with them and been with them for years, and appreciate their flexibility and their interest. So go by Bryant Bank and tell them you heard on Inside the Locker Room.
You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Not been a bad morning at all for your Monday back to work. We're looking at 359 construction zones on the northbound lanes between 2059 and 15th Street, Stillman College. McFarland Boulevard, it's had its slows and goes on the eastbound lanes, and you do have that construction between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen.
The year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Love it. Or return it for free with Lume's 60-day money-back guarantee. That's LUME deodorant.com. Code SHOWER to save 15% today.
Where the season never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, we'll get to this other break here. We kind of went a little long there with Doug. We got a phone call coming in. That way we won't cut them short there. So we'll take another quick break. Then we'll come back, wrap up the show. And then the Gary Harris show from, I think Gary's at the beach. So we'll have the Gary Harris show next. You're listening to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Not been a bad morning at all for your Monday back to work. We're looking at 359 construction zones on the northbound lanes between 2059 and 15th Street, Stillman College. McFarland Boulevard, it's had its slows and goes on the eastbound lanes, and you do have that construction between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen.
You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
DEAL or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather not as humid today. The sky mostly sunny, the high 89. Clear and pleasant tonight, the low 66. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny both days, highs between 87 and 90. And Thursday, we stay dry, the sky sunny, the high 89. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion, Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, I know school starts on Wednesday. Some schools start today, actually, but the University of Alabama will start on Wednesday. They had bid day yesterday. There was bid day was at Auburn on Saturday. Jenny got mad at me, Dad and Chase. She was a Coyote, and all these girls are texting each other who they got, and these girls they're running down to these houses, and I mean, they're hugging and screaming and yelling. I'm like, Jenny, like, they just got in a sorority. They act like they won a gold medal. Like, what is the deal? But that was the wrong thing to say. And they're telling how much they love each other. They don't even know their names, but they love them. But I guess that's all part of it. So I'm in hot water, Dad, for talking about that. So.
One of them's boyfriends. They will be
on the first swap. So anyway, all the girls got, not all, but they got, then each sorority they got in is the very best one. Chase, I don't know if you've been following Bama Rush Week, but it's a big big deal out there, and I think the same thing down in Auburn. So everybody got exactly who they want. It's just like recruiting in football. You get exactly. If you didn't get that person, then there was something wrong with them. So like if you don't get a recruit, and like that kid flipping from Alabama to Tennessee, a lot of guys flipping around here these days.
Yeah, but it's no signing. That's the thing. You announce it because everybody wants to know, but when they're not signed, they don't count.
But you still don't want them flipping. They're flipping for a reason.
Well, he fell in love with the head coach
He's from Georgia.
He fell in love with the offensive line coach
at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a big week for the players out there. They got school starting Wednesday, so they're going to have to balance practice and the real reason they're here, getting an education. We don't talk about these kids getting educations anymore, but hopefully everything's gone back to online. You're taking online at Mississippi State, right? How do you do that to keep up with it, Chase?
Honestly, it's like a different animal, just kind of getting with each time, because they're not like you're going to class like online. It's more of just like you get assignments, quizzes, essays, and it's by the deadline for these professors. So it can get a lot if you're not on top of it quickly. But just pray for me this year.
Yeah. How many hours you taking?
I was going to do 18, but I'm trying to graduate.
Yeah.
But I'm taking 15 right now.
All right. All online. Do you have a professor?
Yeah. I have 5 of them. They haven't came in to like where we check our classes yet, but yeah, I'm in them and ready to go.
Well, I need to be checking your grades weekly. You need to turn your grades into me. We'll hold you accountable here on. And then we get to do the Blue Plate specials, all that next Monday, so it should be fun. All right, that's it for today's show. Gary's been down there on the beach, hanging out all weekend. Always takes pictures of himself down there at the beach. Does he hang out with anybody? He's always alone, down there. But he's been to the beach, so he'll, come back tomorrow, I guess. But I guess he's still doing the show from there. Is that correct? All right, that's it for today's show. Keep it locked in for the Gary Harris Show. You're listening to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama Sports. Have a great day, everybody.